The new racing season at Los Alamitos kicks off on Saturday night, December 28th. It's exciting nighttime action on Saturday and Sunday nights. And of course, the top quarter horses in the sport will be in action at the track of Sunsets and Stars. Our first Grade 1 stakes race of the new year is set for Sunday, January 5th, with the running of the Charger Bar Handicap for mares. Let's get the graded stakes action going. The new season at Los Alamitos. It starts on Saturday night, December 28th.
Just a little quick look at Impressive entering the winner's circle after his victory in the Champion of Champions. And I'm welcoming our panel here to talk about this weekend at Los Alamitos. George Duarte, Michael Wrona, and Chris Wade. What an incredible race by Impressive, winning his second Champion of Champions victory. Michael, you had so many outstanding things to say about the race. What masterful performance that was. For your impressions of Impressive winning for the second time in the Champion of Champions, Michael.
Yeah, joining Taylor Fitt as the only dual winner in non-consecutive years. I mean, there's just so many angles, and he's part of Los Al history and folklore now. Fantastic performance from further off the pace than I appreciated watching it live. That drone angle, the drone overhead shot was quite revealing. To catch Jess Goodwine, who was absolutely flying, and his jockey thought he had the race won, was really impressive. And, congratulations to the connections and to George for identifying that post position 10 was going to bring Impressive right into calculations. Of course, the same outside draw that he used to full advantage 2 years earlier.
For sure, and I do have the overhead shot, the drone shot, because that is going to really let you see, so we can all appreciate how great Impressive was, especially during that second half of the race. George, you called it. You said this was a good spot. I mean, he had one from the outside post. From what you saw here, George, tell me about Impressive before I hit play, though.
I mean, I think what hurt Jess Goodwine's chances was that, he was so far in front of Impressive that by the time he saw Impressive rolling, it was too late. You can't stop the freight train once, and you can see the size difference of them too as well. If you notice just how much bigger Impressive is, and once he gets rolling, he's proven to have, a kick that nobody else can compete with.
And your thoughts, Chris?
Oh, what a great race. A couple of the runners had some trouble in there that cost them any chance. Jericho included had a good amount of trouble away from the gate. Closed well to grab a slice of the pie, but drawn perfectly. Impressive, shown he loves the outside posts and put it to good use. And caught a flyer on the ship-in, or a shipper coming from Albuquerque who was out there on the front end, and he rolled on by right near the wire. Very impressive performance. Loves that outside post and got his second victory in the Champions, both from that outside area.
And I wrote in the story that's on losalamitos.com that now everywhere you look in the Champion of Champions, Impressive's all over him, all over it now, from the fact that he has won now 2 runnings of the Champion of Champions and doing it in non-consecutive years. We didn't mention the tremendous early part of the race that Patty Stain had. I mean, she just flew out of there. It had a big lead. So I'll go ahead and I'll play the drone shot, and we can kind of just talk a little bit about it as it's happening. But again, Patty Saint is right here, post number 9. Impressive, he's right here, post number 9. Right next to both of them is going to be Just Good Wine right here from post number 8. London Toby got a little bit of trouble there. He was probably the one that got the worst trip out of all of them. But let's go ahead and play it out there. Shaker's No Secret also comes on strong to run a really good third. So here's the opening, and look at that. Patty Saint just takes off, and look at that. Now it almost becomes a 2-horse race between Patty Saint and Just Good Wine. And here's where Impressive gets rolling right about here. Michael, right there, you must have been because you caught him right away. You were kind of waiting for that, weren't you?
I knew that there was a serious chance he was going to loom large. Yeah, I don't think I was ready for how he blew straight past that previously undefeated on the year shipper, Just Good Wine, who just had tremendous credentials, ran his eyeballs out. But Impressum was in another league. And I saw Mark Youngers in Burgarts that night, and he was glowing. I congratulated him on the long shot third by Shaker's No Secret. He said he felt like he'd won the race. Of course, there was more big moments to come for him across the course of the weekend, as we will get to. But terrific effort also by Shaker's No Secret.
Rodrigo Sigala Vallejo, just as he's crossing the finish line, because he had a lot of fans there rooting him on. We'll see that huge winner circle. We saw that huge winner circle, but he kind of took a look at the grandstand area and just flashed a big smile because he knew he had just had a historic moment with Impressum. And as you see him crossing the finish line, he's looking right at all the fans after getting that second victory. And Michael, you said here it is, with Little Cowboy 123 entering the winner circle after winning the Los Alamitos 2 million Futurity. And then we'll hear a little bit from Mark Youngers following such an exciting race here.
Let's get you in the picture.
I am. I'm getting
One more. You want to walk him around one time?
Yeah.
We appreciate you. At the draw, you were saying, maybe it's meant to be that he gets post number 2 because he did fine in the Golden State Million Futurity. Now looking back, perfect spot. You couldn't have picked a better one, right?
I couldn't have. I wouldn't have. And anyway, that's funny. So after we drew the last spot, I was a little upset, a little disappointed, and I called my wife, and she said, "Just relax. What happens, and you'll get the hole you need." And so, this colt, he ran a huge race. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know what to say. It's just amazing,
The one thing that you did tell me after the trials was the distance, that he would just love the distance, the longer distance. So at 400 yards, you saw it tonight, that those final 100 yards, he just dominated.
Exploded. Yeah, he exploded. This colt has been training really, really well up after the trials. And I'm not trying to be smart aleck or anything, but, a week after we ran, he's ready to run again. So he's been trained, Ramon's been doing a great job out here helping me and keeping this colt together. Because, he was hot. He was ready to run. So, it's just been amazing. It's been a great experience for us this year. My wife and I just having the pleasure of meeting Ramon and Brenda and they're taking, running our operation out here for us. It's amazing.
Almost a year ago to the date, we ran the Holiday Handicap and Asher won the race.
Yes,
and that's
sir.
when you told me, I haven't been in the winner's circle here at Los Alamitos since Denim and Diamonds.
1981, yes, sir.
Now, a year later, in the biggest race in California for quarter horses, you're back in the winner's circle for this group. What does that mean to you? Looking back, what's happened this year?
It's something you dream about, but I had no idea that, we knew we had a good colt and we're looking forward to coming out here with him. But no, it's been a stellar year. We've been very, very lucky. So glad to be here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And he was referring a little bit about Roman Figueroa and Brenda Figueroa Schwanovel. The horse was stable with them. They kind of took care of him because Mark went to Lone Star Park. He went to New Mexico. He did great at both locations. Shaker's No Secret won the Bank of America Challenge Championship at the Downs at Albuquerque. And, of course, Asher and Relentless Eagle, I believe the horse's name is, they won some big races at Lone Star Park as well. So a great group of owners there. They were all there, big smiles. They could not believe it as well. But it was great to see those new connections here at Los Alamitos. Youngers, what a terrific year he's had, not only at Los Al, but nationally. That was his 50th win of the year nationally for him as well, a career high for Mark Youngers. So,
and how interesting that Impressum won the Champion of Champions, having had the first choice at the post position draw, and Lethal Cowboy 123 won the 2 million Futurity, having no choice. He was the last with no option but to take what was left. And so you go from one extreme to the other with the fortunes at the post position draw, yet both horses were good enough to win. Just to play devil's advocate, given how far off the pace early Impressum was, just to play devil's advocate, I wonder what would have happened if you reversed the post positions for Jericho and Impressum.
Wow. Chris, you guys watch way more video tape than I do.
Yeah, it very well could have been a complete opposite because Cowboy 1-2-3, he's a Cowboy 1-2-3, one from the outside post, but he drifted out steadily from that outside post in his trial affair. So the inside post, drawn between horses, did him a world of good. And we all know how impressive he is when drawn on the outside. And he did not get away all that well in the Champion of Champions. And it may have cost him a little bit if he'd have been drawn elsewhere. But you got the first pick, you got the outside, and got the last pick. So it didn't make any difference. They both got the victory, and it was a great weekend of racing.
George, what would have happened if, like Michael said, if the post positions would have been reversed between Jericho and Impress?
I mean, if it wasn't really Jericho's fault, the trouble he got. I mean, the horse One Stolen Eagle just came in on him right away, so he wasn't like he broke slow and caused his own trouble. So if Impressum, I think Impressum only broke like maybe a head or even less better than Jericho. He just had the clear path. So I mean, and you see, Jericho did finish well in that race. So I mean, he could have easily won from there, and Impressum would have probably run fourth or fifth, from that post if they switched. So I mean, that's where that racing luck comes in. Same thing with Youngers. If Youngers would have picked before Devil's Tower and thought, okay, at least I didn't get the 2-hole, and then here comes Devil's Tower getting the 2-hole and the lugs out like he did in the race, then that would have messed his race up. So there's always a lot of racing luck involved, and that's why you have to also, when you handicap, put into consideration who's next to them. I always emphasize that because of those reasons. You have horses that have tendencies. Anybody who's inside of Scoop's dynasty knows they're in trouble because that's what he does, and so that's the racing luck.
And George, that's why Mark said that his wife told him after he was a little bit peeved that he didn't have a choice. He said, "Relax. The horse got the post position that he needs." And Order Leon Harold, who is a Hall of Fame horseman in the national cutting world of horses, he said he loved post position number 2. He said, "Mark, this horse is going to break fast, and he's going to have all that clear room. Don't worry about it." And I actually had a chance to kind of eavesdrop on their conversation right after the draw happened. And I told Mark, last year Flashback won the Champion of Champions from the inside as well. So we see that happen many times before. I think he may have even won from post 2. I can't remember if it was the rail or post 2. So they can win from any spot. When the horse is running, they get a good solid trip, especially if they break that fast. They're gonna get it done, no doubt about that. Well, tremendous weekend at Los Alamitos with the Champion of Champions and the $2 million. And we still got one more weekend left with a lot of really nice races here at Los Al. We'll go ahead and take a quick break and then come back and talk about the Saturday card, which has the First Down Dash Handicap and the Ransom, and our closing night program with the Southern California Derby. We'll be right back.
The new racing season at Los Alamitos kicks off on Saturday night, December 28th. It's exciting nighttime action on Saturday and Sunday nights. And of course, the top quarter horses in the sport will be in action at the track of Sunsets and Stars. Our first Grade 1 stakes race of the new year is set for Sunday, January 5th, with the running of the Charger Bar Handicap for mares. Let's get the graded stakes action going. The new season at Los Alamitos. It starts on Saturday night, December 28th.
All right, we have the past performances all lined up here for our 2 big stakes races this weekend on Saturday, I should say. The Ransom Handicap, here it is, 350 yards. This race is for 3-year-olds, and it's a really nice group. 8 of them went in the A Ransom Handicap, named, of course, after the 2000 Champion of Champions winner and world champion A Ransom. He's a good reason. He's been in a lot of trial races throughout the year. This is actually his stakes debut for 2024 on Relentless. Ran once at Los Alamitos this season, and it was a good one. The Town Policy Handicap, winning by 3/4 of a length in the mode. A filly who won an allowance race a few outs ago. R.S. Shere Khan competed in the Super Derby, Political Rivalry, PCQHRA champion last year and a Grade 1 winner. Emmy Edago Relent ran third in the Just an Old Love and second in the Blaine Schwanevelt. Kiss My Wine has had some really nice races throughout his career and trending right. Wrapping up the field, a filly by Kitty Up. Tremendous season for the sire, Kitty Up. Anything that stands out about this race, George?
It's pretty competitive. I mean, but the race does go through Unrelentless. You know, he's the most proven. He's the classiest of the group. But I mean, he does draw that tricky two post that Mark Youngers did not want, and they didn't want it for a reason. And he also draws into next to a horse that is usually pretty quick in the mode. So if he were to get into trouble, then that opens up the race a lot. I like Arshir Khan. I like his story. He's the underdog that's improved and got better. But one of the concerns is that his best performance was from the outside. I usually, when you face this type of level horses, I want to see you do it from in between. So that's one of the concerns with him. And then he also draws next to a quick rival in Political Rivalry, who's I'm pretty sure undefeated at this distance. So I mean, that's what have to consider that horse, especially with Rodrigo, who's a good gate rider. And then you have, I think those are the main three. Is just who gets the better trip. I feel, but Unrelentless is the one to beat.
Chris, anything to add, or anything that you when you were looking at this race that kind of stood out?
Yeah, everything, like you said, as George noted, everything goes through Unrelentless. This horse shipped back into Los Alamitos and won the Town Policy and did it with run left to give. It was a very impressive performance and earned my best figure in this event. So don't forget, this horse did, as a 2-year-old, did qualify to do. So the ability is there, and shipped back into Los Al, broken the lead and won well with run left to give. So everything goes through Unrelentless there in this event. So Big Look is our top selection. And one of our better bets in the race car with everything factored in there in that 7th of air.
That's a good point. That Political Rivalry 350 has those 4 victories with no losses, going up to 400 yards, a little bit tougher for Political Rivalry. I've kind of been surprised that he hasn't been more consistent, especially in the second part of the year. Michael, anything else that we can touch on as far as this race?
Yep, I'll point out one other thing, and Unrelentless certainly was impressive, winning the Town Policy, beating Ready For It, who came out then to win a trial to the Southern California Derby. It's a strong form line. But just take a look at the individual times recorded on the same weekend by Unrelentless winning the Town Policy, and number 4, R.S. Shere Khan, in finishing 5th in the Super Derby. R.S. Shere Khan actually ran faster time in defeat with no wind on each occasion. The races were on the same weekend. And, maybe Unrelentless wasn't fully extended in the last few strides, winning the Town Policy. But he does go from post position 8 in a field of 9 to gate 2. Mind you, R.S. Shere Khan had the widest draw in the Super Derby. So he's not that well treated potentially at the post position draw for Saturday night either. But I just wanted to point out that the individual time clock by R.S. Shere Khan, one night after Unrelentless won the Town Policy, was actually faster.
I guess looking at Unrelentless as well, if you go back to like those last 2 outings of 2023 here at Los Alamitos, the Futurity trial where he did qualify to the 2 million, he lifted and broke out. Then in the 2 million, he had a rough start. And then in the Town Policy was off third, and the comment there by George, bummed start. And in the mode is a horse that every once in a while gets a little rowdy and fractures in the gate. So maybe R.S. Shere Khan with that really fast clocking, because he also went 20:04 to qualify to the Super Derby. That might just be good enough, because it's super close to what Unrelentless did in the Town Policy as well. So that's a really interesting thing to point out. Thank you for doing that, Michael. Let's look at race number 8, the First Down Dash Handicap, a Grade 3 event. And this is for older runners. Maybe we'll see a lot of these runners in the Brad McKenzie trials in late January. But it's a full field of 10, up for everything, and it's at 400 yards as well. Up for everything and price fixer. They're both a bit of a big long shots in this race. I'm a 60-man comes back from running fourth to Shaker's No Secret in the championship at the Downs at Albuquerque. Straight and True also at 15-1. Sergio Morfin and Ricardo Ramirez. We keep seeing his name more and more in these straightaway races. He rode Favorite Just Hawk to a really impressive victory in the Constellation to the Los South 2 million. So I think this year, 2025, we'll see a lot of mounts for Ricardo Ramirez in the straightaway races. Space Flight, Stakes horse, 20-1 here. Always a chance at 9-2. You can run the veteran now, making his final start at the age of 7. He's coming off of a nice victory, and he's had a really nice renaissance year for him this year. He's won 4 times already. Let's see if he closes out the year with a victory. There's the rest of the field. Tres Toledo, Cattail Cove, of course. Good old Cattail Cove. Maybe we'll bring our Cattail Cove hats and wear them on Saturday night. And there, just being a friend, just missed qualifying to the champion of champions. He was basically the 11th horse in the list of qualifiers to the champion of champions. He would have been the next one to get in the race. I'll start with Chris. Chris, your thoughts on this field?
This is a well-matched cast. I'm going to give a long shot look to, as I'm going to be my price look in this affair, too. Okay. Always a chance, a horse who has a good amount of talent, but always seems to find some trouble. Had some trouble last time, got fractious and broke slow with bump back and cross, but finished well the final half of the affair to run very well. Better than look effort on my charts. Everything factored in, trouble and track variant. He's got a very good, very competitive number in this affair, and the prior effort was also a troubled event. This horse gets 400 yards and it wants every inch of 400 yards, so I'm going to give him a look there as my price play at 9-2 on the racing program and my preview show selection. So if he gets away clean on the stretch out, I've got a big look at the outcome in a closely matched affair. Of course, Michael's choice to the outside will be on the engine. Of course, the barn is going great guns. Elena Andrade's doing very, very well as of late, and this horse will be on the engine there here from the outside post. So it's a closely matched affair. I'm going to give a slight look to Always a Chance.
Well, I got Always a Chance's last out here on the screen. This is on November the 10th. It was an allowance victory, and he's going to run. He's going to finish third in this race, and he's going to break from post number 2. So he's like right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this race. You're going to see him moving around a little bit, but take it away, Chris.
Yeah, the horse was a little fractious as per usual. Broke slow, was bumped back and crossed, angled into the inside, losing over a length and a half. But was starting out better than the look. Watched him angle out and was kind of climbing near the wire, but he's starting out well and earned a pretty good figure with everything factored in. Trouble track variant, the horse galloped out strong. This horse, a decent getaway, put this horse in the mix for all the money there in that 8th and final affair on Saturday night. You could see him break slow, was crossed, angled in, but was starting out well the final half of the affair.
Yeah, you're going to see him kind of veer to the inside because that hole is closing fast on him. He's going to move to the inside there, and like you mentioned, Chris, it's going to finish third with a pretty nice effort there. We actually have another horse to watch in this very, very race. Okay, here's that trial to the champion of champions, and just being a friend, breaking from post number 6. He just missed qualifying to the champion of champions. Michael, this is your horse to watch on Saturday night, right?
Yes, it is. I have looked back through his career record from the outside post, and it's very good. He had the outside here in this Z. Wayne Griffin Directors Trial, and as you mentioned, Orlando, he narrowly missed qualifying for the champion of champions. He finished a nose behind Scoops Dynasty, who was the last horse to get into the Champion of Champions, and that's how close it was for Just Being a Friend.
Yeah, so he's right here from the outside post, number 6. I'll go ahead and hit play, and we can watch this performance here from a horse that ran second in the Los Al 2 Million Futurity a few years ago.
It's amazing. He's at the end of his 5-year-old season. He hasn't won a race this year, nor did he win a race in 2023. He's certainly due. He's put in some good performances, and his bankroll is exceptional, $440-something thousand. That runner-up effort in the 2 million Futurity would be a big factor in his impressive career bankroll. But he ran very, very well on this night in this replay that we're showing you. Realistically, if he did get into the Champion of Champions, he wasn't going to win that race. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because this stakes race, a graded stakes race, a week later, is a far more winnable, realistic opportunity for him. And he's come up with the outside post again. So I just think it brings him right into play. Back in 2021, Just Being a Friend won his maiden from the outside post in that 2 million final, when he was a long shot second to Bomb Cyclone. He had gate 9 of 9. He then turned up in the outside post position in a trial to the Vessel's Maturity in 2023 and was third, beaten a length by Impressum. The only time he's flopped from the outside post was in the Vessel's Maturity itself, the final. He was nowhere when he had the outside post on that occasion. But this year, back in March, he had the outside post, was beaten a nose by You Can Run, who's one of his chief rivals on Saturday night. And then we saw this replay from recently in the Z. Wayne Griffin Director's Trial. So he's had the outside draw on 6 occasions, and on 5 of those occasions, he's performed exceptionally well. And I just think he's so overdue for another win. This is a great opportunity for him. The barn is firing big time, and I like him. I like him at 4-1 from that outside post position.
Yeah, and Elena Andrade, her barn, coming off of pretty good effort from Show and Tell Cartel in the Los Alamitos 2 million Futurity. That horse ran in the maiden stakes and ended up qualifying to the Los Al 2 million. George, any thoughts on the First Down Dash?
My main thought is I need to be spread in this pick 4 for this in this leg if I want to feel confident. I mean, there's a lot of angles to like and not like horses. I mean, if you go with the favorite, who is the 3, I'm a 60 man, which I'm surprised he is the favorite. I mean, he did lose to Shaker's No Secret last time, but I mean, he caught a flyer. He was out there winging it, and then Shaker's No Secret just dusted him in the final 200 yards. So, I mean, yeah, he lost to a horse that ran 3rd in the Champion of Champions, but I mean, he wasn't even in his realm basically at the end. So, compared to like horses like Cattell Cove and You Can Run, who have shown the ability to be able to hang with those horses at this distance. So I'm a 60 man. I feel is very vulnerable at this distance. I like that he's quick. I just think if this race was 350 yards, then I can like him more. Just at 400, I just think somebody's going to catch him. My top pick was Just Being a Friend. I just think he is rounding back into form, and second off the layoff, I think he should improve. Before I remember him as a horse that was quick early and would get out finished, and I like how he's been finishing his races a lot better lately. So I think with that good break, hopefully, second off the layoff, he breaks better, has that clear path on the outside, is next to, a hard knocker in Cattell Cove who runs pretty straight. So should get a good trip. And, I agree with the morning. I think he should be around 4-1. So that's who I'm leaning to, but this is a real spread race. This is a really good superfecta race because you can go many ways.
Yeah, and I'm a 60 man. Definitely a horse that will travel. He's ran at Los Al back in May, then Pleasanton, Sacramento, Santa Rosa, Ferndale, Grants Pass, Albuquerque, back to Los Alamitos. So he's seen he's seen all kinds of different starting gates, and
That horse will travel.
absolutely, and of course he's done very well. 6 wins from 11 starts in 2024 for AMA 60 man. So that's
I've got one other angle, Orlando, that I want to just bring up for this race. The 7th race, the A Ransom, is restricted to 3-year-olds. This race, the First Down Dash, is 3 and up. And there's one 3-year-old in the field, trained by Eddie Willis for Reliance Ranchers, Trace Toledo number 8. Now, Eddie Willis and Reliance Ranchers have Unrelentless in the A Ransom, the morning line favourite. I just wonder what went into the decision. Was Trace Toledo able to make the field for the A Ransom? Well, yeah, he would have, because there's only 8 horses. So he could have absolutely entered the A Ransom. So it's either a case of strongly preferring the 400 yards, the extra distance, being willing to take on older horses because he thinks that the distance is so much in the favour of Trace Toledo, or does he like the horse enough to think that he might be a threat to Unrelentless? Did he want to just keep them separated? I just found it interesting, the placement of that particular horse, Trace Toledo, as the only 3-year-old in the race for 3 and up, where he could have been entered in the A Ransom. Just interested in that. He's 10 to 1, and maybe he's sitting on a decent race.
Yeah, when you mentioned that the fact that back on July 19th of this year, this horse ran second in an allowance race at Ruidoso Downs, which was at 400 yards. And his one victory here at Los Alamitos, the way he finished was so nice. Extended the lead from a head to half a length, winning in that race 300 yards. So maybe they saw the potential of just stretching him out even more. Or again, it could just be one of those things that they want to see how he does at this distance with the Brad McKenzie, maybe in the horizon end of January. So another very interesting thing. Let's see how he performs against these older horses. And again, you got some veterans of stakes races here at Los Al, headed by, of course, Cattail Cove and You Can Run. So that's a little bit of the Saturday night action. George, we haven't gotten your selection here for to watch on Saturday night. Do you have one, sir?
Yes, it's in race 6. I mean, it's not a price by any means, but
yes, it's a price. That horse was
with these big 4, I feel like you got to spread in these last 2. So, at least I can give the fans what I think is a single in number 6, Hot Favorite. If you go back to his debut, he I don't think he was necessarily ready. He broke slow, kind of leaned back, broke slow, and finished green while taking kickback towards the end of the race. He worked pretty good twice here with Monticello, who ran pretty decent. I think he ran 3rd in the Los Al 2 million trial. And if you watch the replay on the 2 million trial from the outside, he broke a bit slow. He was down like 2 lengths on Haywas and favorite Jess Hawk, like within 50 yards. But he's finished really well, and he galloped out with plenty of runs. So I think he has a lot of potential, and he draws in, where I speak about who you draw next to. If you look at the horse he's drawn next to, which is the second choice and our favorite Chance, if you look at his lines, came in start, lugged in early, leaned in early, broke in. So that tends to, it's in his favor that he's going to get a good trip. And a lot of these other horses have a lot of question marks and their finishing ability, and I think he's just going to, if he breaks within 3/4 of a length, I think he's running them down.
Well, let's take a quick look at that replay from the trials 2, the Los Alamitos 2 million Futurity, featuring, of course, Hot Favorite, of course, that they paid a pretty penny for him, over $700,000 for Hot Favorite. There it is. He's gonna start from post number 7, so the far outside post. I'll go ahead and hit play. George, you kind of walk us through this race. A really good field as well. Favorite Joe's Hawk is going to be the winner of this trial.
Yeah, see, bumps with the inside rival, and then right here they just out quicken him, and he's down. Right here, he's already down 2 lengths, and then once he gets straightened out, and then you just see him how he get his stride late. It's a good long stride, and then he gallops out well, so he has a lot more to give. And if he was even just running on even terms with favorite Just Hawk, that's pretty good considering how good that horse is, and came back to win that juvenile race last week. And you see, look at how he's galloping out. He's only down a length and a half there. So and then he's bred to be any kind, half to hot stepper and in hot pursuit. So I think this is I'm not sure if he's paid into the maiden stakes, but he would be my pick for the maiden stakes right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention the hot stepper and hot pursuit. Those are some legit 400 and 440 yard horses as well. So you can tell right there off of that with that at a distance that he will be good as a 3-year-old as well. Let's go ahead and take a look now at Sunday's program. Again, Saturday's card, 6 p.m. first post for that Saturday card, 8 races on tap. I'll go ahead and bring up the past performances for the Southern California Derby. Now, this race has not been drawn yet, so these horses are in alphabetical order. They're in alphabetical order. They are not in post position order just yet. And Puste is leads the way here. Ran second to Ready For It, who's the fastest qualifier. Ran second in his trial to the Southern California Derby. Also won the Los Alamitos Derby Challenge here to go on to finish 4th in the National Adequan Derby Challenge at the Downs at Albuquerque. Freddie, of course, that always seems to deliver nice performances. He's ran 11 times this year, has finished in the top 3 8 times. Kevin Weiss Corona qualified to the Golden State Derby, ran 4th in his trial. There's Ready For It. It was a tremendous year. Ran 2nd in the Winter Derby, and here he is as the fastest qualifier to the final Derby of the season here at Los Al. Relentless Coronado, purchased privately by Daniel Miranda. Heath Taylor does the training. Remember John. Here, Rancho El Cabresto won this race back in, I think, 2017 with Mr. Apolitical, I believe the horse's name is, but Rancho El Cabresto's had success in this race in the past. SC Time to Run won the Winter Derby, won the Heritage Place Derby, won a trial to this race. Had a great season. Silverback, Philly, and Stanley Cartel looking to get back on track after running 9th in the Los Alamitos Super Derby, came back and won his Derby trial, and now let's see if he can finish out the year with a big victory. He is a colt, so from that standpoint, a victory in this race would be a big thing for Stanley Cartel. Michael, really nice group of sophomores here in the Southern California Derby. Do you have any leanings in this race?
Well, first of all, I have to ask what happened to Try Harder. He would come after Stanley Cartel, wouldn't he? Is he still in the race?
Page. Yeah, one more page.
Oh, there you go.
There he is. There he is.
Okay.
We usually don't see 3 pages on PPs, but here it is, page number 3. Try Harder, yeah, like you mentioned, ran second to Stanley Cartel, so here he is back. They're also running in the Super Derby.
Yeah, I mentioned in the previous show the week after the trials that I quite liked his effort that night. And I'd be interested in whether he can come up with a decent post position that might give him a long shot look. So it's really hard to expand beyond what we've already said after the trials a couple of weeks ago without knowing the post position draw. It's a good race, good field. Anyway, Try Hard is just in the back of my mind as a potential value chance.
Now remember, the Sunday program will be our closing night program for the meet. That means mandatory payouts on all wagers. The pick 6 with our $10,000 seated last Sunday ended up being close to $70,000, I believe. Right, George? Was that pretty much what it came up the?
Usually you get that closing night bump, so you can see it might approach 100,000.
Yeah. So well, that 10,000 if there's not a carryover, and with that mandatory payout, we should have a really nice pick six there. Chris, any thoughts on as I went through all these horses?
Yeah, it's a closely matched affair. It could go any number of ways. I'm just gonna give you got to give Stanley Cartel a big look at the outcome. He's just so very very talented. He's a big bodied runner, and he always gives 100%. And you got to give him a big look. And of course, the fastest qualifier ready for it. That's a big look at the outcome as well. He jumped back into in his last race was a fastest qualifier after running some decent races on my time. He ran right back to his previous efforts 3 or 4 races back. So he's got a big look at the outcome.
George?
I'm assuming Stanley Cartel will be the favorite, unless I don't even know what post he can draw that he wouldn't be. I mean, he's one from the rail, so unless he gets maybe the 2 posts, maybe they try to give it to somebody else. But I'm personally going to go against him. I would like the other Montes and Ready for It and SC Time to Run. And even a little bit on Fusi. I think he's really quick. And last time I think he just didn't straighten out, and that's what cost him to lose to Ready for It. But I think it's going to be one of the Montes. Is just which how they draw is where I'm going to lean to basically. But I am going to go against Stanley Cartel. I didn't like his last race. I don't like that he keeps making mistakes, and at this level it's hard. And greatest stakes level, it's hard to win while making mistakes. So me thinking he's going to be the favorite. It's closing night. I want to be alive in the pick six to somebody besides him.
One thing that the owner of this horse, Fred Stanley, did mention is that he does like it when his horse gets in there. Stanley Cartel gets in there and has time to kind of settle in the gate, kind of relax in there. There was that one race where he was on the outside, and they just popped the gate, and boom, he didn't break as sharp. So I think if he draws maybe like the 4 or even the rail, I think Mr. Stanley would like that for his horse, Stanley Cartel. Armando Cervantes should be on him in that one. Ayala should be on Ready for It. And Eduardo Nicasio should be on ST Time to Run. Not sure who would ride Fuste. They're going to draw this race later on Thursday, so the entries for this race will be available at losalamitos.com, of course, Equibase, and in all those other platforms that show the entries for Los Alamitos. So this is our final race of the meet. The Southern California Derby, a nice group of sophomores, full field of 10, going at it in this Grade 2 event. It's been an eventful December already. We'll see how it ends up here on our closing weekend. Any final thoughts on our final weekend of racing for the 2024 season, Michael?
No, just wanting to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and it's a quick turnaround into the new season. There's no dark weekend this year, the way the calendar has fallen. So we kick off the new meet the following weekend. So there's no time to sit back and kick back over 10 or 12 days off this year. But that's all good because we love the racing action.
Yeah, the Holiday Handicap will be our opening weekend feature on December the 28th. Of course, we're going to have a big simulcast day here at Los with the opening of Santa Anita on Thursday, December 26th. George?
I like the no days off. I don't want to have a dark week where I don't know what I'm doing. So I like it. I like, I've always liked quarter horse racing. So I like the long week. Keep going. I don't need a week off. I'm looking forward to the races this week. I mean, props to the track maintenance crew last week. People worry about biases. A horse won for the 10 post, the big race on Saturday, and a horse won for the 2 post on the big race on Sunday. That just shows, as long as you have a good racehorse, you have a chance at Los Alamitos. And I like to see new owners coming in, giving Los Al a try, and then succeeding. That means they're more likely to come back. And, so I'm happy how it all worked out last week.
Yeah, and Chris, Saturday night, I should mention, a huge day at Evangeline Downs, right?
Yeah, they have an 11 race program. It's over $1 million in purses. So it's almost close to $2 million. They got a $1 million Louisiana Futurity that closed out to $1 million race, and we got all our. We're taking races 5 through 11. So we're trying to help you out with our selections that are in the program and on the website for the big stake evening at Evangeline Downs. We're taking races 5 through 11. So we got a total of 7 for you and try to help you out. And I got a couple of nice prize plays in there. And so give it a look on the website and or the program. And it's a great weekend of racing, the closing week at Evangeline Downs. We got no simulcast being piped in until a little bit later on in the season, or actually next season, like in March when Remington Park comes back. But closing night at Evangeline Downs has got some top-notch racing, great weekend of racing in Los Alamitos as well. And it could go any number of ways there in the finale this weekend.
Absolutely. So looking forward to a great Saturday. Thank you so much to all the viewers that keep watching the Champion of Champions and Los Al 2 Million preview show from last week. Had a tremendous amount of views. So thank you so much for all of you that continue to tune in and enjoy the show. Please give us a like and a follow as well. That helps us out a lot. And again, thank you to all of you. Have a wonderful Christmas, and we'll definitely see you back next weekend for our opening 9 program. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
The new racing season at Los Alamitos kicks off on Saturday night, December 28th. It's exciting nighttime action on Saturday and Sunday nights. And of course, the top quarter horses in the sport will be in action at the track of Sunsets and Stars. Our first Grade 1 stakes race of the new year is set for Sunday, January 5th, with the running of the Charger Bar Handicap for mares. Let's get the graded stakes action going. The new season at Los Alamitos. It starts on Saturday night, December 28th.